chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks. Welcome to ChuggieBets.
October 16th, which means we're midway through the college football season, which is happy and it's sad, right? We're happy to be here. We're sad it's coming. It's going to be done before we're over, right? Before we can even say it. But I do want to talk for a few moments about things we've liked from this college football experience and things we haven't liked, right? Some teams that were shockingly entertaining or surprisingly bad. Tano, start us off.
So I guess mine are kind of like one and the same for like they've been kind of eye bleach, but it's also been the most entertaining thing of the season for me. It's been Iowa football. I find that every window that they're on, I'm finding a quad box that they're in, and I have the audio on them for the whole game because they're just like, I don't know, it's like watching a car wreck, I guess, but it's also kind of an entertaining car wreck because they have some like really good athletes on defense that are like interesting and fun to watch. They have a little bit of personality on their team, which is like clearly trying to stifle them, but every once in a while it comes out, and that makes it even more interesting. It's like, I don't know, it's been a really fun team to watch.
So is Iowa?
I feel like the
Iowa's
announcers
like
have
this-
more. They have like the announcers have more like shit in their bag because they know there's going to be a lot of like boring football ahead of them on the field, so they got to like talk about more random shit too.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah.
for
So
entertaining.
the announcers are that's probably one of the reasons that I have the sound on it, because the announcers definitely are more entertaining. Because like if you just put it on the CW game, you got the C squad that has nothing to say.
That CW game is a disaster. It's not an experience anyone should have. Iowa's
It's worse than the ACC network, man. And the ACC network is a bad broadcast.
the commercials for the ACC network are only like infomercial style, like, hey, here's a flashlight.
It's
a
the
whole
garage light. It's always the garage light that has like 9 different lights going around the circle that will light up everything. Yeah.
I have one of those. That thing hit. Thank you, ACC network. I feel like the Iowa football team is Harry Potter living under the stairs, and the head coach is that mean stepdad that doesn't let him do anything awesome and traps him inside of the staircase. I don't know if that's a fair analogy.
No, it's good. I like it.
I read books.
I'll tell you a team. I hate watching. It would be the Miami Hurricanes.
Oh, come on now.
Pretty unpleasant experience.
I'm not gonna lie. I think we've actually been a fairly entertaining team. Everybody's been talking about us this year. It's just been sad because we're rooting for the wrong side of these teams.
Yeah, don't you feel like that's been the case for like 20 years? Though.
No, I don't think we've been as entertaining as we have been.
Okay.
I don't think we've been as entertaining as we have been every year as we have been this year. Like last year wasn't as entertaining at all. We were just.
Well, I didn't want to. I guess I did, but I don't want to harp back onto Miami. We tackled that enough on the last one. But I will say one team that I have found is more entertaining to watch than leaps and bounds over what I would have thought they were going to be is the Colorado Buffaloes. Sanders. I really thought that was going to be like a flash in the pan, like they're a bad team that like comes out and gets the doors blown off. And they started out hot and they've had a couple clunkers, but I'll be damned if it's not entertaining.
That Stanford Colorado game, I fell asleep when it was 29-0. I was just like real comfy. And I woke up and looked at the score because I had some money on Stanford and I was shocked. And then so I kind of rewatched it, and boy, they make at least losing fun.
Yeah,
that may be one of the worst upsets or comeback losses I've ever seen.
They're gonna have every kind of game by the end of the year.
Oh my god!
They've already done the giant loss and the giant blown lead.
No, something I do want to talk about him really quick, or Colorado in general. Travis Hunter came off from a lacerated liver, right? They played him for 157 plays the other day at Elevation. They're gonna kill the kid.
Oh, you know what? You saw how Stanford came back, right? They just threw at Travis Hunter over and over and over again. They had a guy who was bigger than him, and they're like, "Oh, we're just gonna throw at this guy over and over and over and over again," and it worked.
Yeah, I hope they don't use up like that dude's gonna be special on the next level if he plays wide receiver or in the secondary. Let's just take it easy, Dion. Like, I know you're trying to make a name, and the kid has a ton of NIL value and all that, right? And he's good press for the school, but he's also like a human being. He's got like blood and skin and bones, and you don't want to kill him by trying to fulfill everything else, you know?
Yeah. That's sport.
Anyway, one team I've actually enjoyed watching a lot, and I was talking a lot of shit before the year, but good on West Virginia. I am very happy for West Virginia, and I'm also happy for Virginia because that quarterback is fun. He's bad, but boy, he makes bad fun. He'll throw an 80-yard bomb. He'll also throw like a pitch interception somehow. Like he's the best. He's like,
Oh yeah, that's the guy who's just like their entire offense was throwing Hail Marys.
that's all he did. He
Yeah,
only
man.
played for half of the snaps of a regular football team, and he had thrown more 40-yard passes than anyone else. He's awesome. Caledonia, something like that, Caledonis, or he's from South Florida too. So he's just got that kind of swagger and just hucks the ball as far as he can.
They had the win when they like threw it up in the end zone and he got the pass interference call, or he got like the roughing the passer call.
Oh no, NC State came back and won the game at the end. But boy, was that fun!
Yeah, that was a really fun game to watch. He's been fun. So on Travis Hunter, I think that the problem with him is that Deion sees too much of himself in Travis Hunter.
Maybe.
So he's like, I wouldn't have wanted anybody to take me out even if I wasn't doing well in this game. Liver injury or no liver injury, if the doctor said I could play, I wouldn't want to be out there.
Snaps. I did that when I was 30. It's like, yeah, you're a grown man then.
Deion also did it when he was 19 and 18. So.
And you're also not playing 5,000 feet above elevation, where it's hard to breathe either way, right? It's hard to recover.
He probably did it in Denver at some point in his career, but I'm just saying I think Deion sees a lot of himself in Travis Hunter, and he's gonna let him do it.
I never thought about that. That's got to be it, because I'm like, you're kind of a monster right now. Like you're gonna kill this kid.
I don't think he's being a monster. I think he's just allowing a kid that he sees the ability to do what he did to try and do what he did.
Yeah, I could see that. A team I haven't liked watching this year, I hate saying this because I had liked watching them in the past, is I don't like, and we can talk about the Big 12 in general. Let me take a step back. There are 4 new teams in the Big 12, right? We got Cincinnati, BYU, Houston, and UCF. Those 4 teams are combined 2-10 in their conference.
Yeah.
I hope you got what you wanted. I hope you're happy now.
They'll be really happy next year, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have a little bit of money in their pocket. I get it. But I haven't liked watching UCF this year. It doesn't feel like the same. And I understand John Rice Plumlee's been out.
Gus Malzahn does not have it's an ugly brand of football. I would rather watch Brian Ferentz run an offense.
You don't mean that.
I mean it.
You mean you'd rather watch an Iowa defense than
this man won a championship with Cam Newton and ran, and Cam Newton was the only reason that team was watchable on offense.
He got to the national championship with Nick Marshall as their quarterback against Florida State, and he had the lead till 3 minutes late. 3 minutes left in that game.
He's running whatever the 2023 equivalent of the wishbone is.
The wing tee.
It's awful. Yeah, it's just terrible. I hate it. You're right, Matt. He took a beautiful thing like this Josh Heupel built
Josh Heupel just continued it. It was built by Frost.
Yeah, and I think even before Frost, there was someone there too. But Heupel had it at its peak, and it was beautiful, and it was fun to watch, regardless of whether they won or lost. And now, I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't want it at all.
I haven't watched any UCF games really. Actually, I lied. I watched 3 quarters of UCF game this year. It was the first quarter of their first game, and I was like, pass. And then the second quarter of their second game, and I was like, pass. And I tried to watch a quarter of their last game, and I didn't make it through all of it. So 2.5 quarters I've watched, and no more UCF for me.
No, that's enough. Another team I'd like to put on the list of someone you should watch is Arizona. Keep an eye out. They're getting more fun. Their defense has been competitive.
Be very clear, Matt. Not Arizona State.
No, God, don't watch Arizona State.
Yes. Arizona. This is a very confusing thing for a lot of people because nobody watches either of these teams because they usually both suck.
Mentioning Arizona and Arizona State reminded me of a clip I just saw recently of Mike Leach, RIP, when someone asked him what mascot would win in a battle royal, and he immediately just had the most fun and interesting questions. He was like, well, what's a Sun Devil? The Sun Devil, you got to put the Sun Devil up there. I don't know what their powers are, but that's a tough one to beat. Does the Trojan, is the Trojan
really
on
powerful?
Horseback?
Devil's really powerful.
Is the Trojan on horseback? Does he have a sword or a bow and arrow? So it's just, it was very fun.
He's the best.
But
College
every time,
football
yeah,
will not be the
you
same.
can't
If you
mention
just
Arizona State and not have me think about what the hell is the Sun Devil.
What the hell is the Sun Devil? It's a good question.
Mike Leach was a treasure for college football, and he'll be missed.
Yeah, we need more personalities like that. Less Jimbo Fishers and
Less like literally any other coach you can name. They're all
Yeah.
awful.
I just go with Jimbo Fisher because he's the worst.
McDaniel's kind of bringing it with the pro football, but we need more
Yeah.
Mike Leach in college.
Give me a Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell knows he's a Dan Campbell, but he's okay, and he embraces.
He's
being
leading
Dan
all the way
Campbell.
into being Dan Campbell for sure.
That's great.
Man Campbell.
I love him.
You need characters, and he's a fucking character. Jimbo Fisher's like the worst kind of character. He sucks, and he's also going to go
Used car
7-5
salesman.
again this
College
year.
football is just full of a bunch of used car salesmen.
They are. They're all bullshit. They're all nonsense, except for Mike Leach. R.I.P. Shall we pick some games?
Let's do it.
All right, let's start off really hot. We got Penn State, Ohio State. This is going to be a huge game for the Big Ten East in the final year of divisions. Al, what are you doing here, bud?
I'm taking the points with Penn State. 4.5. Penn State plus 4.5 at the big, well, not the big house, but the horseshoe, whatever the fuck they call
Horseshoe?
it. The Ohio State.
You call every
Bullshit.
stadium the big house. That's Michigan, buddy.
I know it is. But yeah, I think this is like a coin flip game. So I'll take the points.
Yeah, Andy's on the over. I like both of those plays. I do think there will be points to be scored. Both defenses are pretty stout, but I think both offenses are pretty good too, right? 47 is not a ton of points.
I'm not
Yeah.
like super high on Ohio State this year, so I like Al's play here.
I like it too. I think Drew Aller is going to come out. It's going to be a coming out party for Drew Aller. Another interesting game, UCF going to Oklahoma. We've got Dylan Gabriel playing against his old team. Al, what are you doing here?
Laying 19.5 with Oklahoma before it crosses 20. I think John Rice Plumlee is probably going to be back for this one for UCF. I don't think it matters. I think Oklahoma's defense is really good. I think UCF's defense is really bad. I think Oklahoma's offense is really good. You put that together and you get a 3-touchdown victory.
Turns out Venables needed about 7 games to get these defensive linemen figuring out what stunts they needed to do or whatever the hell. I don't even know football well enough to tell you what they're doing, but they're doing it right now.
Dude, the defense is night and day from last year. They have got.
When was the last time we talked about Oklahoma defense? 2002?
Why? Like, is there a more slept-on team in the country than Oklahoma? And I know Danny's about to say Michigan, but honestly, Oklahoma's up there.
Michigan's ranked first.
Oklahoma is slept on. We talked about this before they played Texas. You and I talked about this.
It's awesome. Oklahoma now. Really it's good. Oklahoma for sure. They're still being slept on. They should be ranked like 2nd or 3rd.
There's plenty of teams getting love. You got a lot of Washington and Florida State fans out there, but Oklahoma needs to be considered heavily because that's a good-ass team.
I know we're supposed to be doing picks now, but I need to pivot into this. I'm so pissed that we don't have a 12-team playoff this year. This is the perfect year. There's like 2 really good teams and then like 8 teams that like any one of them could make the playoffs. And like, I sure wish we had a playoff where all of them could make it. But we have to wait till next year because for some stupid bullshit like marketing reasons, I don't know what it is, TV deals. Anyway, I'm pissed about it.
And next year it's going to be awesome with the 5 seed hosting the 12 seed and the 6 seed hosting the 11 seed. It's going to be so fun in the small towns around America. I guess Seattle's not a small town, but Eugene, Oregon and Tallahassee, Florida. If they don't make the playoff in traditional senses, those small towns are going to go wild.
Yeah.
Not to get too business deep into it, but it's because the bowl sponsorship deals for the bowls that are going to join the playoff have already been set and they can't ask for more money.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they could figure it out if they wanted to. They just don't.
There's always money in the
So they made the deals all expire at the same time for the ones that are going to happen so they could say that it's going to happen here. And then they started marketing it in advance. But
yeah. Anyhow, on to the picks.
Let's head to Arkansas. What do you say, boys? We got Mississippi State going into Arkansas. Arkansas, I don't know what the fuck to do with this team. They lose in embarrassing fashion. They fight competitively against Alabama. I have no idea what to do at all. I know neither team is particularly good. that I'm comfortable with. So Mississippi State getting 7 points feels like the safe play here. I'm going to take the points with Mississippi State +7. And Andy is joining on that, or I'm
Yeah.
joining Andy.
I'm not going to mush your guys' bet, but I like it. I think Arkansas is a team that is very tough, but they have a coach who will take big swings tactically, and will very often get way out coached by a better coach. And he's going against a better coach, I think. So
Yeah, both teams are winless in the SEC too. I think Arkansas is 0-4 and Mississippi State's 0-3, something like that. So
it's always nice
not a good
too
game.
it's always nice when you make a pick and you like it and you go to put it in and you see Andy's already on it.
It's like,
It's always a good feeling.
It felt real
especially after week 4.
Yeah. And now we know we're cooking. We know that algorithm's working. Let's go to another game that's an absolute stinker. We got Boston College going into Georgia Tech into the Hyundai Center or whatever the hell it's called. Al, what are you doing?
Laying 4.5 with the Yellow Jackets. Georgia Tech's bad, but Boston College is a lot worse. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this game. They're both not great. So, sure. They probably win by 10. Baylor going into Cincinnati. Al, what are you doing in this one?
Yeah, I'm laying 2.5 with Cincinnati. So, I know Cincinnati's not been good. I think they've played a lot tougher schedule than Baylor has, and they've lost some closer games. And Baylor, I think, is kind of riding high off of a single victory. And I just think it should probably be a bigger spread than this.
Okay, I get that. I'm jumping in another pick here. I just added one for the noon slate. We got Memphis going into UAB. Lay the points with Memphis. 4.5 points, not enough. UAB's getting better under Trent Dilfer, but they're not good. I would not say they're good this year, and they've been good over the past few years. So I like what Memphis is doing. Lay the 4.5. We got a nice action here. We've got Western Michigan going into Ohio. Andy is taking the 16.5 on Western Michigan. You guys, what do you think he's going to say?
Too many points.
Too many points.
I think he's wrong in this case because Ohio's pretty good and the directional Michigans have been bad. I don't know which one's the worst one, but I know that all of the directional Michigans have been bad so far this year.
Pick a direction, any direction. It's like a dealer. Pick a card.
Yeah. Look at your compass. Put it on Michigan. It's bad.
Yeah. If you're not at the Big House or the Horseshoe, whatever it's called.
Honestly, State's been bad this year too, so it's really just Michigan. Michigan took them all.
You got all of them. They know the directions.
Harbaugh took all the players, and there's nobody left in Michigan to go anywhere else.
Danny, you got to pick in the next one. Rutgers at Indiana. What are you doing?
Basically, fading Indiana worked really, really well for me last week. Granted, I had Michigan in that game, but I'm going to try it again. And Rutgers hasn't been terrible this year. They're like kind of a surprising team. I think they're like 4-2 or 3-2.
2-2 in conference too.
Yeah, so I like Rutgers to cover the 5. I think Indiana's been pretty bad. They're a Big Ten team, but I think they've been kind of bottom of the Big Ten. So I'm going to lay the 5.
Yeah, I like it. That feels like a good play. Let's go Air Force Navy. Historically, guys, when two service academies face each other, you should always take the under.
Yeah.
Even on a low under. Al, what are you doing here?
Yeah, so this one, I don't feel great about it. But I've said that before in these situations, and it still covers easily. But under 37.5 is the play. I think it's something like 2-to-1 clip. This hits, and I think it's hit. I think lately it's hit in like 15 straight. So
yeah, it's been a lot of them.
Yeah, so we're sort of due for one of these to bust. And Air Force,
if one of them's going to bust,
be the one that does it. But
Air Force is going to be in the game.
They're scary. They're actually good.
So this is a principal play. I don't technically love it, but it's on the sheet.
I will be bet. I didn't give this out, but I will be obviously placing this bet because I haven't missed one of these. I think in 4 years, and
do it.
They basically all hit. So this isn't one of them that I'm going to make like a 10 unit. This is the game I'm watching, but it'll definitely be in the quad box.
Yeah.
Mostly
because it's a pretty weak noon slate.
My fear is that Air Force could score like 30. Right. That's my big fear here. I don't think Navy's going to score very much. Air Force has an okay defense, but Navy's not very good on offense. Air Force has a very good offense.
Air Force has a very good offense. Navy has been trying to move towards throwing the ball more, so they actually have a slightly better offense this year than they
Okay.
have in the past. But my worry is that because Navy's moving towards throwing the ball, they have not been like holding the ball for the amount of Navy's usually a lot like Army in the fact that they can just hold the ball for a quarter and a half sometimes, which is what will lead to unders in these games. It was why even the game can get 14 points in the first quarter and then only get like 21 total for the game
A
because then
20-minute drive that results in a missed field goal.
yeah, exactly. Or
Yeah.
or fourth and one on on the goal line, and then the other team does the same thing the other way, and then the game's over.
That's it. That's the bowl game.
3 possessions.
So that's just I just don't I'm gonna bet this, but I'm obviously I didn't give it out because A, you guys were already on it, and B, Air Force is a little scary, and Navy's offense has been moving a little towards trying to modernize, I guess would be the best way to say it. A little less triple option, a little more regular runs.
Yeah. No, I like it. I like it. I'd actually lean to playing the over, but I'm not going to do it because historically, when two armed forces play each other, you always take the under. So at 2:00 for some reason, Akron's playing Bowling Green State. Is this the Ohio or Kentucky one? Do you guys know?
Ohio.
Oh, you're not doing that this time. Al, what are you doing here, bud?
Yeah, so I just want to say I really love that the NCAA has mixed in these random time slots where we don't just have everything strictly in the 12, 3:30, 7:30. So there's always a game going on and you catch them in the middle of it. You guys might be on the smarter play here, but I'm gonna take Akron plus 7.5. I know the Zips are bad, but I don't think they've gotten blown out. I think every single game has been like a one possession game that they've lost. Bowling Green is coming off a win last week, but getting 7.5 points with Akron is enough to make me commit.
I love it, dude. That's the play I would play. Andy and I are both on the over 40. It just feels too low for both teams. I think there's going to be 50 points probably in this game. I really like the 40 on this, but if I had to play a side, I would play Akron. And
Akron lost 2 weeks ago to Northern Illinois 55-14.
Yeah.
They opened the season losing 35-3 to Kentucky, but that's expected.
Yeah.
It's at Northern Illinois 55-14. It's kind of like
it's pretty stinky. I don't know about
you're right. The rest of their games have been one-score games.
Yeah.
They haven't won, but the rest of their games have been one scores. So.
What is Northern Illinois doing scoring 55? Honestly,
it's rude. Honestly,
it's absurd.
I don't know. Honestly, that was a shocker when I pulled it up. I was like, "Is this year's team?"
2:00, we got Louisiana Monroe, who I have in my bad team draft, mind you. Going into Georgia Southern, I'm going to take the points with Louisiana Monroe, 16.5. Georgia Southern is clearly better.
They only put up 11 against Southern Illinois.
They may win.
They're 55 against Akron. Sorry.
They're bad. They're not good. The Zips are not good. And that's someone, I think, Danny, I think you have them in the bad team draft. It's worked out very well.
Somebody does.
Somebody has them. I don't think it's me, but sounds like a Chris play.
Oh, no, you have FIU,
yeah.
which is paid very favorably.
Yeah, it has.
Either way, taking the points with Louisiana Monroe, it's a little bit scary. Georgia Southern's clearly the better team, but that's too many points. Let's talk some SEC football. What do you say, boys?
Before we do that, it's time for a moment with Danny.
So you are not going to have a chance to mow your lawn early this morning because Premier League's back and there's just some fantastic games this week. So, yeah, you got to wait. I mean, that we just went through that noon slate. You got, is it Alabama? No, Alabama, Tennessee is the only good game.
Ohio State.
Penn State, Ohio State. You got the juggernaut that is UCF. Playing a Big 12 game, but you got the military under you can watch, but more so you got Chelsea playing at 12:30, so that's going to be going on during that same time. So Chelsea Arsenal is a huge game, so you can't go at noon. But this 3:30 slate's really weak. The best game is Tennessee. Well, Tennessee Alabama is the second best game, but the best game is going to be Iowa. Is playing
Minnesota.
It's going to be the best game of the week, and there's only going to be like 5 points in the whole game. So if the best game of the window, there's only going to be 5 points. You're not going to miss much if you're mowing your lawn.
I agree. If you're gonna mow, it's got to be at 3:30.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a little bit chilly out there in these days, so you get that afternoon sun. Keeps it from being a little too cold.
That's right.
Beer is a perfect
like it.
temperature.
Mm-hmm.
It's late enough that it won't be too bad when you drink 5 of them in an hour while you're mowing.
No, you have to.
Yeah.
You're mowing the lawn, damn it.
It's the rules.
Let's talk Tennessee, Alabama. Something that I think has been criminally underreported is Tennessee's good on defense. Their line is really good on defense, and they look really good against Texas A&M. Now, mind you, Texas A&M is not a juggernaut, especially with Max Johnson as the quarterback and not Connor Wigman, right? They've lost a little bit something. But I've been impressed with Tennessee's defense. This is normally a spot where Alabama rolls, but it feels like too many points. I'm taking the 9.5 against Alabama with Tennessee on this game.
So there was a time many a week back when I said Alabama. What did I say? Jalen Milroe is too good. Was playing really well at quarterback despite Alabama not doing well. Like it wasn't on Milroe.
No, it's not.
The poor start, and then he proceeded to have like his worst game of the year and got benched, and that take really did not look very good. But since he got benched, he's come back and he has played phenomenally. I think Alabama is firmly in a no bet place for me until
If I recall correctly,
Alabama.
somebody could check the tape on this. Al had that take not knowing that he was getting benched. And I think Andy or you told him he was being benched while he was having the take, and he was like, "Oh crap."
Yeah,
I think that's correct.
Pretty close.
But you were like looking back now, you were right about the take.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No,
It wasn't his fault.
If
They
you wait
shouldn't have
long
benched
ach
him.
you're always right.
Yeah. You squatted the take long enough, it'll work. Yeah.
Honestly, the Alabama-Arkansas game concerned the hell out of me. They should have no
Yeah.
business that game being close. And I think Tennessee's pretty good. And 9.5 seems like a big number. Seems like like you want to give them 7, Alabama wins by 7, sure. I believe it all day, but feels like too many points against a team that's going to be pretty competitive, and they can hold up on defense well enough.
Yeah, I guess I was going to say, like, I think I like Alabama in this, but I'm not going to bet it.
Yeah, I understand.
I like Alabama in this. Sorry, Meadow. Because of the Tennessee victory. Was it last season?
Yeah.
And I just feel like Saban's gonna make Joe Milton look silly.
That I didn't even think about, like Nick Saban's revenge tour. It's never pretty for the other team when it happens.
It's very similar to the Bill Belichick revenge tour back when he had a team.
Yeah.
And the
Talk
Saban
about a
revenge
couple
tour.
coaches that look checked out, though.
Holy shit.
I don't know. Saban doesn't seem as checked out. They're at home. I just think that Saban has lost his quarterback. I think they both lost their quarterback, but Saban was good without quarterbacks, and Belichick was fired from the Cleveland Browns without a quarterback. So,
whenever you have the chance to take the greatest quarterback of all time in the last round, it's always a good idea to do that.
You talking about Brock Purdy?
Yeah.
well,
let's go move on to the Pac-12. Al, what are you doing in Washington State going to Oregon?
Yeah, see, I'm not going to be mowing my lawn at 3:30 because this one is going to be almost as good as what we watched last week. I am taking Washington State plus 20.5 at Oregon. I still think Oregon's going to win this one. I think Washington State definitely keeps this one close. I actually think the first half bet might be the smarter play. Washington State plus, I don't know, whatever it ends up being for the first half, 10 or 11 or something. But I think they managed to keep it within 3 scores. Cam Ward is really good.
Yeah, I think that's a good outcome.
I don't think this game is going to be that close. I think Oregon covers, but I'm not gonna.
I bet this game is 6 points closer if Washington State doesn't get their ass whooped by Arizona last week.
Oh man, what a bad loss for Washington
Yeah.
State. I love Cam Ward. I was gonna come on here and talk about how much I love Cam Ward, but you can't lose like that.
So you're saying you think the line would have been only 2 touchdowns if that didn't happen?
Yeah,
But it did.
it did. You're right.
So you think you're getting value? You're doing the and you think I'm getting value because they got their asses kicked by a bad
Look
team?
ahead line.
Yeah.
Look ahead to a
Yeah.
big game and looking past Arizona. I mean, you don't get beat like that usually on a look ahead, but
It works.
Yeah.
It works for him, but I would probably avoid this one because they just got
'Cause
their
you're a
asses.
coward.
No, they just got their asses beat by a bad team, and then Oregon just played with like one of the best teams in the country, and
was winning with a minute left.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
this next one, Wisconsin, Illinois, is my highest total I'm taking the under on this week. It's under 42.5.
I love low unders, man. They're so fun.
They're the best.
Yeah, under 42.5.
So I think college football low unders have replaced my first half college basketball unders because they definitely caught up to me on those lines. But the college football low unders, man, it's like nobody wants to bet unders in college football at all.
They're so
I don't know
fun.
why.
Yeah. Oh,
So under 42.5,
yeah,
Wisconsin,
under
Illinois.
42.5. No
All right,
need.
let's move. Let's keep it in the Big Ten West here. We got almost a cyclone, but we got Minnesota going into Danny's beloved Iowa. Danny, what are you doing here, bud?
I'm laying the 3.5, man. I think Minnesota is one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. So I think that Iowa's going to win this game 2 safeties to 0 safeties.
Ooh, that's enough. 4-0 will do it. Al, what are you doing?
Yeah, not only does that cover the Iowa minus 3.5, which I'm also on, but
this.
it would definitely hit the under 32.5. That's 32.5, under 32.5. This is the biggest sicko move of anyone ever. I saw this and I was like, it's got to go under
So
32.5.
I'm coming with you guys on Iowa 3.5. Right?
You
I'm going
are.
to come good. But I may have to come on that under 32.5 also because
I want to do it too. I want to
I
do it
love
too.
it so much. But yeah, I'm joining. Iowa's the better team here.
If I'm not betting it, I'm definitely putting it in my action app so I can root for Al for it.
Hell yeah. Let's talk about a contentious one. We got a bar fight. South Carolina going into Missouri. Al, what are you doing here?
Yeah, Andy and I are taking South Carolina plus 7.5. I know it's kind of a South Carolina blew it against Florida. An emotional loss, and then immediately going on the road to Missouri is a really good spot to typically bet Missouri. But I think South Carolina is just a lot better than Missouri, and not necessarily a lot better, but this is going to be a lot closer than 7.5. So South Carolina plus 7.5. I also think with these two teams keeping it close, over 59.5 is a play as well.
Yeah, Andy's joining you on that plus 7.5. I think you're wrong. I think Missouri is considerably better than South Carolina. This game is going to be in Missouri. I'm going to lay the 7. You know what? I may draw that number back and you guys win, right? And it's like a team victory because no one really loses. But Missouri's good on offense. South Carolina's bad on offensive line, boy. They cannot keep anyone upright. And I'm going to say it for the 8th straight episode. Luther Burden is going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem. He's been a problem. Brady Cook, I think, is the quarterback from Missouri, or Brad Cook, something like that. He's okay. Yeah, he's okay. But he gets it out to playmakers, and Missouri has that weird NIL rule that if you sign in state, you get paid in high school. So they're going to continue to get good players.
What is that?
There's not that many good players in Missouri, though.
You're going to see some good players that stick around that usually have been going to.
You can start drawing a check in high school if you commit
as
to
a
Missouri.
senior in high school for an NIL rule. Florida is like feverishly writing this rule so that our players will stop going to Ohio State and Alabama.
Oh, shit.
Writing this law, sorry, and passing it. So you can start playing. If you commit and sign a letter of intent, you can start getting paid.
So basically, colleges can pay high school seniors to pay.
Correct.
play
Correct.
high school football.
Missouri's
what
keeping.
about like an Arch Manning who like commits when he's in 7th grade? He's got to wait till he's a senior.
I think so, and you have to be in the same state you commit in, right? Like you have to be a resident of, like you have to be a resident of Missouri and stay in state. It's like an incentive to stay in state.
What happens if I guess you owe the money
Until
back if you
freaking
decommit?
Delaware passes a rule that says, "Hey, you could pay anybody anywhere to come to Delaware."
Everyone loves Delaware rules, right?
Delaware's like the tax haven of the world. They don't give a shit about anybody else.
Lawless. Lawless.
So the next play we've got on the board is Pitt Wake Forest. Do not watch this. Do not check the score. Do not bet this. I don't know what Andy's doing. He's taking the over 47.5 in this one. It
So,
is
just to be
something I don't
clear,
want to touch.
Pitt, Wake Forest, South Carolina, Missouri. These are the same now.
Yeah.
This is the same game. South Carolina, Missouri is an ACC game now, right?
Meme. Yeah.
Oh
my God.
Yeah. Don't watch either of them. This is bad. But yeah, I did want to mention something before we move on. I know that we're kind of going long here, but Al, you went a really low under and took the favorite, and then kind of a higher total over and took the dog. That is sort of against the traditional way of thought, right? You want to take the dogs on low unders, and you want to take the favorites on high totals, right? What made you go this way in these two games specifically? Was it just a gut, or?
It was two things. It was me liking both of these totals, and then me getting talked into the spreads. So not very scientific.
Gotcha. Okay.
You guys mentioned Iowa -3.5, and I was like, that seems really easy. And then South Carolina, I don't know. I'm assuming Spencer Rattler is going to like finally figure it out at some point, but I guess maybe he's not.
No,
I also think Nick's figured it out.
I also think Missouri already had their big moment, their big upset. Granted, I don't think beating South Carolina qualifies as a big upset anymore. So I don't know, a little bit of that.
Right. Just a thought. I just wanted to mention that, like, in general, this is Al's going against the grain here, but I don't think these are bad plays. I just wanted to.
So what's that mean? I can't have Minnesota score more than 12 points or something like that and still win?
No, Take the team total under. Take the team total under on Minnesota, and then you can feel great about playing both.
No.
12 would be no, it's 12. I think it might be. You
like,
might be okay with 13.
Like 13.
13 and 16, 13 and 17.
Yeah, that's 30, baby.
14 and 18. 14 and 18 would be the
I don't even know you get 18. Oh, 2 touchdowns, 2 safeties. That actually sounds great.
2 Iowa touchdowns would be how many safeties?
7 safeties and an extra point somehow.
Watch Brian Barron start going for 2 on every touchdown because he need every point.
God damn it! I hope he does. I will be in. I'll be in.
The numbers say you should, man. The numbers say you should. So there was a while where what's the Steelers coach was doing it for a while. Tomlin was going for 2 on everyone for a while, but he ended up stopping that. But
okay. So next total. So Andy's on a few totals here. He's on over 44.5 in Buffalo Kent State. I'm imagining he's thinking Buffalo is going to cover most of that by themselves. And then he's also on UTSA FAU under 58.5, which that's a pretty big number. But it's going under it, which I guess that makes sense. After that, we're into the 7:00 window. Ole Miss at Auburn is the first game we've got to play in. Danny, you've got to play in that.
I have Auburn in the bad team draft, and it's been working pretty well. I think Auburn's going to lose this game. I think Ole Miss has the better coach here by far. So I'm gonna lay the 6.5.
Yeah, I mean it being in Auburn probably gives me a touch of pause, but Auburn's not very good, so Ole Miss could blow the doors off them.
I mean, Alabama and Mississippi are the same place, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, education-wise, racism-wise,
All the important things.
yeah. All right. So
Sorry,
Utah
I
State,
didn't mean to go there,
It's okay. I did. Utah State, San Jose State. Matt, you're on the under in that one.
Utah State actually has a pretty good offense, so this is a more dangerous play. It just feels like too many points between the two of them. If it was in Utah State, I'd be much more hesitant, but it's at San Jose, so under 66.5 I like here.
Yeah, it's funny because San Jose State usually has a really good defense, and they don't this year, and they usually have a really good offense, and they don't this year. So it's kind of like,
or San Diego State. We're not sure which he's talking about. Sorry.
Danny, why don't you go wax on about your favorite team in the country?
My favorite team in the country, as coach, is Manny Diaz.
Yep, University of Miami,
Yes.
Manny Diaz.
All right, so Matt, you have the next one.
I'm at Michigan.
Oh, Michigan.
I'm at Michigan. It's the next play. Michigan is Danny's favorite.
Oh
team.
yeah. We're on my play. Yeah, I'm laying 24.5 on Michigan and Michigan State. Michigan still what one team has scored more than 7 points against them, and it was Minnesota, and it was barely. So I'm gonna stick with Michigan State's probably not gonna get more than 7 points.
You know what? Here's the
Oh, that just reminded me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Danny betting what was the Minnesota team total under, and it was dead, and or was it Indiana
Yeah,
team
Matt
total
had
under?
the Indiana team total under 6.5.
I sure did.
And it was dead on the first drive. We didn't score again the rest of the game. I
Here's a
expect
fun fact.
Michigan State to hit the first quarter over and then not to score the rest of the game.
So Michigan has not given up a first and goal all year. Nobody's been within 10 yards of the end zone against Michigan this year. Think about that. Really chew on that.
That's crazy.
They have
Jim
not
Harbaugh loves that shit. He's like,
I love that shit. That's amazing. That's an amazing stat.
It is.
They have not given up an end goal yet. Every score has been some nonsense bullshit, like interception for a touchdown, or like what Indiana did, the shenanigans they pulled from 30 yards out.
Flea flicker? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it was a flea flicker.
Or a reverse pass or something?
It was
All
a
right,
trick play.
Let's take it down to Tallahassee. What do you say, boys? We got Duke.
Yeah, we have 3 picks left here. One is me, one is Andy, and then one is Danny. So Duke, Florida State. That's got to be like the marquee matchup of Saturday night, right?
I think it is. I think it's one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is with the caveat that Riley Leonard is back. I don't know if that's the case. I think it might be too early, but I think the whole idea, once he got hurt, I think the goal was to try and get him ready for this one. Duke plus 14. Even if he's not, I think it's not a bad bet, but I like it a lot better if Riley Leonard's playing. So Duke plus 14 at Duke.
Yeah, I like that pick, especially if Riley Leonard is back. Duke played, and they won by 20 against NC State the other day, but they played pretty shitty without him. I don't think that shit's going to fly in Tallahassee. Florida State's been like surprisingly good on defense this year. Outside of that weird game in Boston College, they've kept everyone to 24 points or under. And that's including LSU, Clemson, some really good teams in there as well. So they've done a really good job of managing that. So if Riley Leonard's back, I think that's an entertaining bet. I would probably side with you here. I did this last week against Florida State, and they won by 39. So once bitten, twice shy, I guess. But I think you're probably on the right side here.
I like Duke's defense a lot. I think Riley Leonard is going to play. The latest news is officially day to day.
Oh, sweet.
But he went all the way last game. He went all the way up through like game day as like I'm practicing as if I'm going to be the starter, and then they're like, I'm just not quite ready, and they played the backup.
Yeah.
Which,
So yeah,
like Norvell has basically come out and said we're preparing for Riley Leonard, and if the backup plays, we're going to go against him. And Riley Leonard is practicing like full speed, so I would expect him to play, but they're like the coaches are going to pull that like bullshit, like we're not sure.
Yeah. This quote from the Tallahassee Democrat says it's a quote from Mike Elko says, "Yeah, he's day to day. Coach Mike Elko said of Leonard at his Monday press conference with a smirk.
So is it like, I agree with you. He's probably going to be back because I think it was just a high ankle sprain, even though the injury looked awful in that Notre Dame game. But I've also
Some
been
guys have better flexibility than others.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is like Utah Cam Rising, where they keep saying he's day to day and he still hasn't played one game this year. You know,
Yeah.
like all these coaches are doing that.
I need video footage of the smirk. Was it like he's day to day, like a happy thing, or was he like he's day to day?
Yeah.
Wink. And it's like really he's not.
He's like, yeah, sure.
Boy.
Yeah, I think you're right. Let's go down to 9 o'clock. There's a couple really good games in between there. Utah USC is an interesting styles make fights game. I hope Cam Rising is back. Come on, Uncle Kyle, tell me he's good because I think that game will be wildly fun if he's back.
Yeah.
If not,
and then you said there are a couple games, so you got high hopes for the Georgia State Louisiana.
I actually do think that's going to be a really fun game to watch too. But I think it's a 2-point spread, so that will be really, really fun. No, Clemson Miami. Look, I think I'm higher on Miami than you two, and I don't understand why that is.
Agree. I think you are.
I don't think they're a bad team. I think they're a fine college football
Because you don't
team.
watch.
I watched the whole game against North Carolina,
I
wasn't disappointed.
I fell asleep.
And the Georgia Tech game was stupid. You shouldn't have lost that game.
I didn't watch all of that game either. I was hammered.
I think
it's a 5-hour
styles
tailgate,
make
man.
for both of these games, right? I don't think Dabo's team is great, but I think they're playing a little bit better. And I like it's in Miami. I think it'll be a fun crowd. This is not the Georgia Tech Publix buy one, get one, the back end of it, right? There will actually be like a legit crowd ready for this game, hopefully. So I'm ready to watch it.
We were ready when Al Golden was our coach and Clemson came down. We were totally
that
ready.
That was one of the worst games. The 59-0 or whatever that was. That was a disaster.
Yeah, it was awful.
That's Deshaun Watson as your quarterback and not Cade Klubnik.
I think we also lost 59-0 at home to Virginia when we were seniors. So
that's a different. That
was a little bit different.
That's a little bit different too. I don't think that's ever going to happen again under Cristobal. You may lose dumb games, but
I don't know. I'm not gonna get excited for this one. I will if we're winning by like 3 scores and there's 2 minutes left.
But this is a good evening quad box situation. You got Utah USC, you got Duke Florida State, Clemson Miami. Those are 3 name value games you can enjoy in a try box, I guess. And then throw Georgia State Louisiana, which will be the best game of that whole selection.
Dude, you don't have anything on Army LSU? Army trying to slow down Jaden Daniels? That's going to be fun to
Poor ass Army. Army may score 30 points though. They may.
They could.
Let's go to San Diego. Snapdragon Stadium. Beautiful Snapdragon Stadium. Got Nevada coming.
No, I'm pretty sure it's called the Big House.
I'm sorry, it's the Big House. They call it the Big House of San Diego County. Andy is going to stay with Nevada plus 14. He says this is his favorite play. It backfired on him last week. Hey, let's see if he gets it this week. Arizona State's playing Washington, unremarkable. I do think this will probably be a hangover spot for Washington, but it doesn't matter against Arizona State. You'd have to be
they win by 20 instead of 50.
Stone cold drunk, not hungover. And then UCLA at Stanford.
It's a 4 touchdown line, which that's why I didn't take it, by the way.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And Dano, let's go to the farm in Northern California. UCLA at Stanford. What are you doing?
Colorado looked like they could blow out Stanford until they figured out that they could just throw it at one guy who had a liver injury and was playing 160 snaps.
Yeah.
UCLA doesn't have a guy with a liver injury and 160 snaps, and they're probably better than Colorado. So I feel like they could probably cover 17.
I like it. UCLA has been a weird team this year. They have a great defense, but they look bad against Oregon State, who's not great on offense. I don't know how to do the math on UCLA. They're like the opposite of a transitive property team. Every day is a new adventure with them. But 17 points sounds right. Al, you look like you got something to say. You got anything?
No,
To...
I was just gonna. I just made myself laugh when you mentioned going into what you call Stanford the farm, and I was like, oh yeah, UCLA is going down to the big house, and I was really just gonna commit to it, and I just made myself laugh.
You should have
Anything
said
else
it.
you guys?
I guess
Anything
you
else
did.
you guys want to talk about here before we close up shop? We've given you 90 minutes of college football.
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is if you bet this UCLA minus 17, do not stay up for it. Do not watch it. Do not try and see if it hits. There's nothing but pain and anguish in doing that. Even if it does hit, you're going to bed at like 2 a.m. This is all in reference to the stupid game last week. Boise State. Boise State was up 20 and covering, and I was on Boise State pretty significantly, and I felt good about it. They score a touchdown with 4 minutes left to go up 20 or like 5. And then I don't even know who the fuck they played. Colorado State. Colorado State gets the ball, goes down, gets a touchdown. There's 4 minutes left. They cut that lead down. They get it. They kick an onside kick and recover it, which like that never fucking happens. Like period. But then they go down, score again. All of a sudden, so it's 4th and goal. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this. No one cares. But
I care.
they even if Boise State gets the stop,
I don't know why I
I
egged you on there. I really don't care.
Yeah, even if Boise State gets the stop on 4th down, I still cover. But they get the stop, but they throw a flag, pass interference, and then I was all fucked. And I go to bed at 2, and I'm pissed. Don't do that. Just bet it and go to bed. I should have hit end recording a long time ago.
The only thing I had to say, other than Al's really long, awesome story. Al, do you have any memes you want to explain to us?
And then it's on $5.
So I was just gonna say that you got Man City Brighton. I think you gotta take Brighton. I think you're gonna get about a goal and a half.
Are we doing that really quick? I haven't looked.
I was just saying really quick. You got Liverpool Everton. I would lay whatever you lay with Liverpool, and then we got Chelsea Arsenal. Take the under. Depends on whether or not Disasi plays though.
Yeah. What's the number? Is it 3?
I don't have any numbers in front of me, but I was just looking at the schedule. It's a good schedule this week.
It is. It is a good one.
Let me see if I can just throw out a what's in my heart. Luton Town
Newcastle Palace there. I like
Forest?
that. I like a Newcastle Palace draw.
Do you like Luton Town to get a point?
Who are they
A
playing?
draw against Forest? That could happen, but they're at home, right?
It looks like it's at Forest.
It's at the Forest.
It's at
I never it's like action. Action always puts the big house in it, though.
Yeah, every game's at the big house.
Just fucking cut it right there.
Cheers, boys. Good night, Cat.
The big house should be the left. Just cut it after Al says